Hello, fellow crocheters. Today we are going to learn how to do this beautiful heart stitch. So when you're working the heart stitch, you are working in multiples of 6 plus 3 in your main color. So for instance, in my sample here, my main color is white. And so I counted in multiples of 6 and then plus 3. So this is a chain of 21. So to start this project, let's move this to the side here. We're going to grab our main colored yarn. So I'm going to choose white again, and I'm just going to create a slip knot, and I'm going to chain in multiples of 6 plus 3. And so I'm doing another sample size. So I'm going to be chaining 21 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3. So the plus 3 that you're adding is actually going to be the first double crochet of your row 1. So to do row 1, you're going to count the 4th chain, so from your hook, so 1, 2, 3, 4. You're just going to yarn over and insert your hook into that chain space, and you're going to create a double crochet, which will give you your second double crochet, because the first chain 3 was your first double crochet, and now you have your second double crochet. And you will work double crochets along the entire row. So feel free to pause the video at any point until you reach the end of your row, and you can join us back. So you're just going to insert your hook and go pull through 2 and then pull through 2. All right, so here's our last double crochet. All right, so that was row 1. Now for row 2, what you're going to want to do is chain 1, turn your work, and now you're going to be doing single crochets across the entire row. So you're going to insert your hook in the base of where you did your first chain 1, and then again continue doing single crochets into the next stitches across your row. If you need to pause the video and join us when you reach the end of your row, feel free to do so. All right, so I have my last stitch that I need to add a single crochet, but in this stitch, I'm actually not going to complete the stitch. So I'm just going to insert my hook, and I'm just going to bring the yarn through. And because in row 3, we're actually going to be adding our colors for our heart. And so I'm going to start with purple. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you leave 2 loops on your hook. You're going to grab your purple, leave yourself a tail, and then you're just going to add your purple, and you're going to pull through the 2 loops on your hook. And you're going to just tighten these, and then you're going to create your chain 1 and then chain 2 and then turn your work. So now we're going to be working row 3. And in row 3, what you're going to be doing is you're going to do clusters of double crochets. So what that means is we're going to add 2 double crochets into the same chain space, but we're not going to complete the double crochets. So this is what it looks like. You're going to yarn over, you're going to insert your hook into that chain space, you're going to pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook back into the same space, and then pull through. And then you're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then pull through the last 2. And that will create your first half heart. The next step will be to chain 2. So 1, 2. And you're going to skip the next 5 stitches, and you're going to create your next clusters of double crochets into the 6th stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then yarn over and insert your hook into the top of the 6th stitch, and you're going to create a double crochet cluster. So again, you're just not going to complete your double crochets. So there's the first double crochet, insert in the same space, and pull through 2, pull through 2, and then you're going to do 1 more for a total of 3 double crochet clusters. And there you have the first half of your heart. You're going to chain 2, and now again in the same chain space, and so in the same stitch, you're going to add another 3 double crochet clusters. So we're going to do exactly what we just did. So we're just going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert, pull through 2, pull through 2, because you always want to have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and then pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2, and there you have your first heart. So again, you're going to chain 2, and we're just going to repeat this process until the very end of the row. So we chained 2, we're going to count 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to yarn over and insert our hook into the 6th stitch, and then we're just going to pull through, and we're going to do our cluster again. So there's the first, there's the second, and the third, and then we're just going to chain 2 again, and now we're going to do 3 double crochets clustered again. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So there's our second heart, and now we're going to we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here is the 6th. So we're going to yarn over and insert our hook into the very last stitch. So that would be right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here is number 6. So just insert your hook and then another cluster. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And actually, you don't want to finish the stitch because you're going to re-add your white. So I'm just going to grab my scissors, and I'm just going to cut off the white, and I'm just going to leave a small tail to weave in later. And now I'm going to grab my white and I'm going to leave another tail, and I'm just going to pull through the 2 loops on the hook and then pull it nice and tight. And I'm just going to chain 1 and then turn. So now we're going to be going to row 4. So we've just going to cut the purple. So I'm just going to leave a tail so we can weave in later. So now for row 4, what we're going to do is we did our chain 1 and we turned our work. So now we're going to do a single crochet into the chain space right here. So here's a single crochet. And now we are going to be working half double crochets into the next 3 stitches here. So in the chain space here is where we're going to be putting our half doubles. So we're just going to yarn over. We're going to go down to the row, the previous row, and we're just going to insert our hook, and we're going to create a half double. And then we're going to do a second one into the next stitch. And then we're going to do a third one in the following stitch. And that is all right. So now that we've done the 3 half double crochets, we're going to chain 2. And then we're going to insert our hook into the chain space. So between the heart here, we're going to add a single crochet. We're going to chain 2. And then again in the space here, we're going to add 3 half double crochets. So just yarn over and then insert your hook. So here's the first half double, a second half double, and now a third half double. And we're just going to repeat that for the entire row. So feel free to pause at any moment and you can reach us when we get to the last stitch of the row. So now we're going to chain 2. Again, a single crochet into the chain space, chain 2, and then we're going to do our 3 half double crochets. So here's 1, 2, and 3. So now that we have the 3 half double crochets, so for the last stitch, what we're going to want to do is we're going to chain the 2, and we're going to have a single crochet at the top of the heart here. And then we're going to chain 2 and turn. All right, so now we're going to be doing row 5. And in row 5, you will be doing double crochets along the row. So to do that, we're going to yarn over. In the first space here, we're going to put so in the chain space, we're going to add our first double crochet. And then between the chain 2 space, we're going to add a double crochet. Now we're going to add 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches. So here's the first. So here's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and our 3rd double crochet. Now we're back to our chain space. So we're just going to add 1 double crochet. And then at the top of the heart here in our single crochet, we're going to add a double crochet. And then again, we're going to repeat a double crochet in that chain space. And you're going to repeat that for the entire row. So here we have our next 3 stitches for double crochets. So here's 1, 2, and 3. And now into the chain space, we're going to put a double crochet. At the top of the single crochet, we'll put a double. In the chain space, we will put another double crochet. And then for the next 3 stitches, we will add our double crochets. So here's 1, 2, and 3. And now we have our last double crochet that will be going into the chain space here. All right, so now that we have completed row 5, we're going to repeat row 2 to 5 until you reach the desired length you want. So let's do one more color together. So I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to redo row 2. So I'm going to be putting single crochets into the tops of the stitches along the entire row. Feel free to pause at any moment and just hit play again once you've completed your row. All right, so now that we arrived to the end of the row, we will need to add our next color. So I'm just going to cut a tail of the white off, and I'm going to grab my next color. So my next color is going to be blue. So I'm just going to leave a tail and pull through both loops on the hook. And then I'm going to chain 2. So 1, 2, and then turn. All right, so by doing a row of single crochets, it actually turns your work so that your hearts are the same throughout your entire project. Again, you're going to create clusters of double crochets. So in this row, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the base of the stitch of the chain 1, and we're going to create 2 double crochet cluster. So there's 1 and a second, and then the chain 3 counted as your first double crochet. Now we're going to chain 2, so 1, 2, and we're just going to skip the next 5 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to insert our hook into the top of the 6th stitch, and we're going to create another cluster with 3 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, and there's our third. Now we're going to chain 2, and in the same stitch we're going to do another cluster of 3 double crochets. So here's 1, 2, and our third. Oops. And again, we're going to chain 2. We're going to skip the next 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to insert our hook into the top of the 6th stitch and create our next cluster. So here's 1, 2, and our third, and then chain 2, and then again in the same stitch we're going to create another cluster of 3. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And now chain 2 again, and again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then at the top of the 6th stitch, which is right here, you're going to add your your hook. There we go. And then you will create your cluster again. So there's 1, there's 2, and 3. And again, we're not going to complete it because now we need to do row 4, which is to go back to your main color. So for me, that's white. So I'm going to grab the white. And I'm going to leave myself a tail. And I'm just going to pull through 1 and 2. So we're just going to create our chain 1, turn, and we're going to put our single crochet into that chain space. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to create 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches. So here's 1 double crochet, a second double crochet into the next stitch, and then a third double crochet into the following stitch. Then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to add a single crochet at the top of the chain space between the heart. We're going to chain 2, and then we're going to create our double crochets again. So we're going to insert. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Now that we've done our 3 half double crochets, we're going to chain 2. We're going to do a single crochet between the chain space of the heart. We're going to chain 2 again, and then we're going to create the 3 half doubles. So here, 1, 2, and 3. Now that we have our 3 half doubles, we're going to chain, and we're going to put a chain 2. So we're going to put a single crochet into the top of the heart here, like in its space right here. So we're just gonna do like we did on the last row with the hearts. So we're going to just put a single crochet. Then you're going to chain 2. Oops. Going too fast. Chain 2, turn your work, and now you're going to be putting double crochets across the entire row. So for that, we're going to add a double crochet in the same space that we chained 2. So there's 1 double crochet. So we're going to add a double crochet into the chain space here. And then we're going to add 3 double crochets into the following 3 stitches. So here's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and then our 3rd double crochet. And then into the chain space, we will add 1 double crochet. Into the top of the single crochet, we're going to add our double crochet. Into the chain space, 1 double crochet. And now we're back to our half doubles. So we're going to add a double crochet into the tops of those half doubles. So here's 1, 2, and 3. In the chain space, we're going to add 1 double crochet. Into the single crochet at the top of the heart, we're going to add another double crochet here. Now we're back to our chain space, so we're going to add 1 double crochet. And for the next 3 stitches, we will put a double crochet. So here's 1, 2, and 3. And then into the chain space, 1 double crochet, and then a double crochet for the top of the single crochet of the heart. So for this row, you actually don't complete your stitch because you're going to be adding your next color. But because I'm just doing the 2 rows, I'm just going to complete the stitch, and I'm just going to cut the tail, and that is how you do the heart stitch. All right, so now that the sample is completed, don't forget that you need to repeat rows 2 to 5 until you reach the desired length. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you have any questions, just comment below and I'll be happy to answer them. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell.